Now, the rest of the story.
All right, welcome back. Now, this is the rest of the story, as all of you know, but much like Mr. Harvey, he did double back and readdress some issues from time to time, and this is going to be one of those issues, the grain bin. I must have some newer viewers or some people that just kind of wanted to recap on what's all going on with this bin, and I guess I'm the guy to do it. So, first and foremost, this bin started to structurally fail about 2 years ago. At least that's what I'm going to go with. And what happened was we just got done filling it a day or two beforehand. Dad came out the next morning and he looked out and he said the bin did look a little funny. He started investigating and he saw that the bin was crimping over on itself, which you can see it's got a pretty good bend to it. We also had on top of the entry door is actually, you got a seam that it's busting out. I can show you. But first and foremost, this bin doesn't owe us anything. This thing's been around, I want to say north of 40 years. And it's held a lot of material, a lot of grain. So this is actually what Dad was worried about when he first saw it. How well you guys can see the cracks right along that seam there. But it does have some rust and some heating issues from years of having wet corn dumped in it and running the stirrator and trying to get it dried down and fighting the stirrator, because the stirrator in this bin is absolutely terrible. It was built too light in my own opinion. It was always a hassle trying to get corn dried down in here, which in turn resulted in corn crusting on the outer edges of the bin, and by doing that the heat damages the metal and it results in the pinholes and everything that has gradually shown up over the years. But for getting, I'm just going to say around 40 years of use out of this bin, really can't complain. We haven't had any issues like that with our bigger 20,000 bushel drying bin now. The stirrator in that thing it's built so much heavier. I obviously prefer that one. Do we still use this bin? A little bit. We put, I want to say right around 1,800 bushels of soybeans in it this year. Are we going to use it again this fall? I could tell you no right now, and I'd probably be a liar, just because anybody that has experienced fall harvest when you're on the clock, if you start running short of space, or if the bins are getting full, or if the weather's coming and we need a place to dump some wet corn or dump some soybeans with the intention of spinning around and pulling them right back out the next day, anything literally to keep the combine running. We do have a semi now. We have not ran a harvest season yet where we had our own semi, where we were running our own schedule. I'm expecting that to be huge going forward, but myself, I'd like to see this bin torn down, maybe not put back up in the exact same spot. This is approximately a 10,000 bushel bin. What I would like to see done is come back and actually build the same size bin minus the stirrator, maybe still a fan of sorts, but I would actually like to go through and put in a bin for soybean storage, a nice, decent, non-worn out, well-used bin, a brand new bin, just for the simple purpose of being able to dump our beans in the fall when the conditions are fit, and then be able to just run. That was also a big issue with combining beans any given year, is once you get the carts full, once you get the wagon full, once you get the combine full, you're stuck until you can get a truck to come back. And when everybody in the county is calling the same truck driver, every truck driver, grain hauler in the area, especially the last 2 years, was getting pretty well nonstop calls. I mean, it wasn't the trucker's fault. It was just the year and the weather, and everyone was just getting borderline desperate there when we were knocking on December 1st and we had a lot of grain to move yet. So my duct tape gave out. We did go through. We were able to keep the bin standing by putting some duct tape on it. There's a little bit of it here yet, but there's really no traces of the duct tape that was here. It did its job. It kept the bin from falling over, and it held it fairly firm. I'm thinking about going and getting some of that black Gorilla tape my dad has and trying that just to keep the bin from moving too much. For those of you that don't realize that's sarcasm. The bin shot. I mean, as far as going through and repairing any of the sheets or anything else like that, the roof is rough. There's a bird's nest on the inside of our vent that probably may have had to do something with here if we wanted to keep using it. But this whole thing is just shook. I mean, from the weight of it falling over here, it's got the old tar all pushed up, and the sheet is actually pushing down and actually squeezing itself back up. We are actually looking at it. Dad and Ryan and both of us, all three of us, we're looking at it, and to be quite honest, we're thinking that it's actually moved a little bit south. It's actually kind of working its way around the bin some more, and I think I could take you guys on the inside, but it ain't gonna do you much good because I didn't bring my light down with me, so you're not gonna be able to see the damage in there. But it comes out, the sides kinked all the way up to here, which we're coming up on about halfway around, but it wasn't before. I don't think it was even quite to this seam here, but I'm also seeing down the bottom where it's actually peeling up again, or still. It is actually right about to where that shovel goes. So I mean, it really boils down to how much you want to push your luck. We can go through, we actually got to retar this bin, which is, from what I understand and Ryan's intentions, we're gonna fill that full of corn, and that's gonna be feed corn for my brother's calves, for his steers. As far as trying to keep using this one, we can keep using it to a certain degree, but what's eventually gonna happen is we're just gonna have to quit using it altogether. Because I've never seen a bin fall. I've seen pictures of bins blowing out, like in the center seam. Say if we filled it full, and that's what I was originally trying to get at. What my dad said he was worried about is, I don't know how well the camera's catching it, but it's literally busting out right above the door. What Dad was worried about was, with the bin being full, he was worried about that tear giving out all the way around the bin and having the whole bin blow out. That was his biggest concern. At least with what we did by panic selling and getting all that corn moved like we did, it allowed us to at least save all the grain in the bin, even though we had to sell it during harvest, even though we weren't planning on it, because that is like the worst time to spot out corn or beans. So speaking of harvest, I don't know how many people are actually getting excited about it yet. There's a bunch of tar spot in the area. There's a bunch of sudden death syndrome in the soybeans in the area. Some people are starting to get a little excited about that. The corn around the area, I mean, I went up to Highland today, so I mean, I got a little bit of a pretty good look of the area. And there's some areas that the corn is running out of nitrogen and it's turning yellow. It's not drying, it's not maturing, it's just flat out turning yellow. It's just running out of nutrients. And the lack of nitrogen late in the season like this is definitely gonna be hurting the yields. And for us, I mean, we're sitting really good yet with our nitrogen applications. We just gotta get done working on the combine, but I don't want to sit and talk about the combine now because that's probably going to be another video if I started on that. For those that want a quick update, the vertical unloading auger is back in. The auger's in. The gearbox assembly whatever the technical term is for it, I really couldn't care, is back in. That was a little bit of an excursion. We had to pull the side door off so we could use a skid steer to at least hold it up in there and get everything lined up. Then the unloading auger has got to come out so we can time everything again, because it is not timed, but that inner auger needs to be pulled out regardless. And then all the chains on the side, we got to go through and I got to remake them. So we got brand new chains going on, and then we got to address the feeder house, which will probably be done tomorrow, I'm guessing. I don't really feel like talking about Big Red because that is a work in progress. And if you guys want to see where we're at with that one, there's no we to it. It's literally 90% Ryan. It's Ryan's truck. It's Ryan's job. I mean, I'll help him as much as he asks me to help him, but they say that's one of the best ways to really understand how a piece of equipment works is doing the maintenance on it, and he's doing a really good job at it. So we'll just leave it at that. You guys are watching the rest of the story. Thanks for tuning in. Things have been slow around here. I mean, that's the long and the short of it. It's been slow with the weather we've been getting. We're getting rain that we're not even supposed to be getting. We're supposed to have 2 weeks of sunshine and 70s and 80s. We had some pretty nasty rain here 3 days ago, and then the last 2 days we've had fairly good showers too. It's keeping everything pretty wet, pretty damp. The crops, as far as any moisture we get from here on out, really aren't benefiting us to any point where it's really going to affect yield. The biggest thing that's going to be affecting corn yield, bean yield right now is going to be blue sky and sunny. I say cloudy days are actually kind of putting us backwards too, because it's not really moving the crop much. We don't need the clouds. We don't even need the rain. We got plenty of soil moisture. The beans are doing awesome. I honestly don't know where we stand as far as our yields. I'm definitely to the point in my life that I don't get excited about yields as far as trying to guess what everything is going to run until it actually is coming across the yield monitor. Because at that point, it doesn't matter up until that point. That could be 100 bushel beans, 70, 80, 40. It doesn't matter, because until it actually goes through the combine, it could be 100 bushels. We could get SDS or get a hailstorm, and that could go to 0. So as far as getting really excited about what yields are doing, I just don't. I've been told what our crops, the potential our crops have, meaning which makes you feel good, but yield potential isn't final harvested yield. That's what really counts. So I'm starting to get hot. If you can't tell, the humidity is coming back. We probably got another storm coming for all I know. But we haven't tried to make any hay yet. We do have a bunch of hay to make. Third crop is coming along really well. That is one thing that really benefited from all of this rain. We did fertilize a lot of it, all of it. But our waterways, even that I normally just cut once, I'm going to try to cut those again, because those are literally chest high to eye level with me. And I'm planning on making every little blade of grass, alfalfa, everything that I possibly can to make sure that we have enough feed to make it through the winter. So things are probably going to be picking up here for you guys here before too long. Between cutting brush, I was planning on doing a video on that. You guys, that may be tomorrow's video for all I know. I got the 4155 Rhino hooked up, and with the amount of rain we've been getting, I just don't want to go out and tear everything up and track mud everywhere, just trying to cut my pastures, because I got two grass patches down at my place that are turning into brush, and locust trees are coming up in it. They're just saplings now, but trying to get all of my pastures cleaned up. It's the end of August. Having to worry too much about plants coming back at this point is kind of irrelevant, but it is nice having everything cleaned off and at least looking nice. So that's enough of that. So until next time, hopefully tomorrow, take care, take it easy, keep in touch. I'll talk to you then.